So the topic we have taken for today's study is from rituals to the reality. There is constant conflict in people's mind. What happens to rituals we follow in our family when we study Vedanta? And those who study Vedanta or think that they are studying Vedanta disregard rituals. So common comment is, I am not a ritualistic person. The question is, what are you? What you are not is of no help. What you are, what am I, needs to be found out. I am not a ritualistic person. I am not a devotional person. Then are you an intellectual? Are you a contemplator? So what place rituals have in religion, and how does the performance of ritual take us close to the reality? We need to understand it. So in these modern times, are rituals relevant any longer is the question that is asked. We don't understand the relevance of ritual as it was conceived. Some point it was conceived. At that point, what was the relevance? How many of us understand that? If we know that, then we can compare, is it relevant today? So what was the place rituals were given? What was the place knowledge was given in spiritual evolution? We have to have this fundamental clear, and that's what we can achieve in 1 hour. So this topic, there's no way we can understand it in 60 minutes. But in 60 minutes, you can get a navigation. How rituals and knowledge go together. They are not opposed to each other. Backward people do ritual. Futuristic people seek knowledge. There's nothing like that. So where does ritual fit in? Where does knowledge fit in? For which we have to understand the uniqueness of human birth. Of all beings, human being is unique because of what is called as subtle intellect. Sukshma buddhi, it is called in Sanskrit. This is the subtlest faculty you have as a human being. The physical body has sense organs of perception, sense organs of action. You are able to perceive the world, you are able to act in the world. Subtler than the body is the mind with which you feel emotions. Hatred, jealousy, greed, joy, excitement, positive and negative emotions. Likes and dislikes, desires. This is mind. Subtler than the mind is the intellect, buddhi. Whether a dog distinguishes between master and stranger, or a scientist is thinking of Mars mission, moon mission, all are using gross intellect. Tikshana buddhi, it is called. Tikshana buddhi means gross intellect. But a scientist may not ask fundamental questions of life. Why am I born a man? Why am I born a lady? Why am I born in Japan? Why am I born with these qualities? To pass it on as genes is just a shallow answer. You don't inherit all qualities of parents like a tiger cub inherits from a tiger mother. So genes does not answer the question. So these questions, what life is all about, is there something called as God? Can I become a better person? This question can happen only to an individual. We all the time think of making others better. We all the time try to change others, but can I become a better human being? How to do that? These questions pertain to subtle intellect, sukshma buddhi. When your sukshma buddhi or subtle intellect is awake, your spiritual evolution has started, not until then. So using your body, you can do rituals. Using your mind, you can chant prayers and mantras and exhibit devotion. Using your intellect, you can attend classes. But unless the subtle intellect is hungry in you, your evolution has not started. You're just supplying yourself with spiritual goods. That's all. So spiritual evolution and subtle intellect marks a human being separate from all other species. What is spiritual evolution? When your desires are increasing, you are spiritually falling. When your desires are decreasing, you are spiritually raising. This is the definition. When your desires are decreasing, that is called as spiritual evolution. You are becoming happier, complete day by day. But if your desires are increasing, you are agitating your mind. That is spiritual fall. So the question is, what does the mind naturally do? The mind naturally is extrovert. The mind in all of us constantly runs into the external world. So your mind, my mind, has 5 servants. The 5 servants are ruling your life. They are ruling my life. The 5 servants are the 5 senses. The mind uses eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin to gain pleasures from the world. This is called as extroversion. So the result of extroversion is you develop desires for what you don't have. You get attached and possessive to what you have. This is our life. Today, all of us are nothing but a bundle of desires for what we don't have. Terribly attached to what we have. I have a son, 7-year-old, terribly attached. I want a daughter. I have been wanting to have a second child. I'm just giving an example. I want to have a second child, a daughter. Desire to have a daughter attached to son that you already have. So these two bind us to the world. And that is why the state is afraid whether to open the school or not. Every politician in the ruling party today is cursing themselves. Why did I take the seat? The opposition is sitting and smiling because they have to take the decisions. So what is the problem? Everyone is afraid about what will happen to my child. Hardly anyone is afraid about the society. What will happen? What will happen? What will happen to my child? What will happen to me? This is desire and attachment. So the sages and saints understood such a person is not open for spiritual evolution. They are consumed by the mind. So you can't tell the person, stop worrying about your child, stop worrying about your business, stop worrying about your wealth, stop worrying about your health, and start thinking of God. This is impossible. Totally unscientific. Therefore, what they understood was to map wherever the mind went. So these philosophers started finding out where the mind is going. One person's mind is going to wealth, another person's mind is health. So wherever the mind went, they intercepted the mind with gods and goddesses. Whatever the mind wanted to accomplish in the world, whatever actions people are performing, they converted that very action into worship. And the nature of mind is to enjoy pleasures. But when it enjoys pleasures, it gets involved. It becomes addicted. So remember 3 things. They are very important. The first is, wherever your mind runs, they intercepted with gods and goddesses. Second is, whatever action you're performing, they converted that very action into worship. They didn't ask you to worship apart from your work. That's why they said work is worship. So whatever action you perform, they converted every possible incident in life into worship. And the third is occasions to marry, occasions to indulge, occasions to derive pleasure. They quoted it with a divine reason. So in our culture, we don't blast a birthday party for us, but we celebrate Ganesha's birthday. We celebrate Rama's birthday. We celebrate Christ's birthday. So occasions of enjoyment were turned impersonal, not personal. 50 people come and give you gifts. That one person who doesn't come to birthday insults your mind. You think of that person. That fellow insulted me. He didn't come. So they turned it outward. They made it impersonal. So intercepting gods and goddesses was the first. Converting actions into worship became the rituals. And third, occasions for the society to come together became the festivals. So festivals are celebrated in the name of God. Actions are performed in the name of God. Pursuits in life are divinized. Entire life was coated with God and godliness. Ingenious plan for the extroverted mind, because our mind is running into the world. This is the relevance of the three. Why we have various gods and goddesses? Why do you have rituals? This word ritual is a very wrong word, but we have to use because everyone understands. The Sanskrit word is samskaras. Samskaras means obligatory actions, occasions in life, procession of life. So your samskaras or rituals start even before you are born. There are 40 types of samskaras that are there. I could be wrong. There could be more, but certainly not less. So your ritual starts when you are in your mummy's tummy. There is a ritual. And the day you exit the womb and you enter the world, the first breath you take, it's a ritual. So as soon as you are born, you are taking and taking and taking from the world. The first thing you take from the world is breath. The last thing you give in the world is the breath and leave. In between these two breaths is sandwiched your entire life. Our question is, why should I give? Because without taking the breath, you can't live. Without returning that breath in this world, you can't depart. So everyone is on a line of credit on this breath. Entire life you are on line of credit. What is the line of credit? That breath that you take as soon as you exit the womb. It's a ritual. 1 month later, they give you a name. It's a ritual. Few months, 1 year later, they tonsure the head. It's a ritual. First time when the child is fed, it is coming in October. So the child is fed food. It's a ritual. Every aspect of our life is a ritual. So 3 ways in which they converted everyday life was to intercept your life with gods and goddesses, to convert every occasion in your life into worship, into thought of higher, and for societies to come together, festivals, occasions, special divine occasions for the extroverted people. For the introverted people, they gave the knowledge. Introverted means a mind that is not rushing into the world. So such a person's intellect is available to take knowledge. They gave philosophy for intellectuals. So the common misconception is Hinduism is full of rituals. That's not right. Every religion has rituals and philosophy. So every religion follows a 2-tier model. The 2-tier model is ritual and philosophy. Rituals are for the active, extroverted people. Philosophy is for the contemplative introverts, intellectuals. Krishna clarifies this to Arjuna in the Bhagavad-Gita. He says, I have given 2 ways. One is rituals for the active people who have to rush into the world. And then philosophy for the contemplative people. When we go to the Vedas, there is a distinct separation. The rituals are called as karma kanda. Kanda means section. Karma means action. Section dealing with actions, obligations in life. And philosophy is called as Nyana kanda. Nyana kanda means the philosophic treatise. Why divide them into 2? Because karma kanda or rituals is aimed at chitta shuddhi. Chitta shuddhi means purifying the mind. Once your mind is purified and not gathering any fresh desires and attachment, you can engage your intellect on higher. Not until then. The problem is today, everyone is trying to meditate, which is the last segment of realization. So we can't engage the mind and intellect upon meditation unless you have purified the mind, developed your intellect. This initial stage is called as Chitta Shuddhi. So every religion has these two aspects. Innumerable rituals in every religion, but philosophy is the same. The difference between one religion and the other is only in terms of rituals. All religions talk about the same philosophy. You would be amazed. That's why Vivekananda said, why quarrel about 1% difference when 99% is the same? Humanity is quarreling over 1% difference between religions. 99% of philosophy is the same. In fact, 100% is the same. What is the philosophy? What does Nyana Kanda contain? The Nyana Kanda, or the philosophical treatise in the Vedas, are called as Upanishad. The philosophy in Upanishad is called as Vedanta. That is what we are studying. Veda means knowledge. Anta means end or the highest. So Vedanta means the end of knowledge, highest knowledge, which takes you towards spiritual evolution. Engineering doesn't take you. Mathematics doesn't take you. Business management doesn't take you. Medicine may not take you. But this knowledge takes you towards your spiritual potential. Now, what is special about this knowledge? That it takes you towards your spiritual potential. Those who are studying Vedanta may not be aware. What is the scope and objective of Vedanta? The first thing is, it talks about the nature and composition of a human being. This is what Vedanta deals with. Nature and composition of human being. What's your nature? What are you composed of? This education it gives you. Second is, what is the nature of world and how to relate with the world? You have to contact the world. So what is the nature of world and what is the right type of relationship a human being needs to maintain with the world? Third is the eternal reality beyond the individual and the world. Three contents in Vedanta, nothing more. Vedanta doesn't deal with predicting your future. Vedanta doesn't take you to past life regression. All these are sold and dumped upon people in name of Vedanta. It doesn't deal with all this. This is all for weak minds. Vedanta is the opposite of it. It strengthens your intellect. It doesn't allow you to yield to mental weakness. It strengthens and empowers your intellect. So any ritual, any symbol, any tradition, any practice, any festival you would find would fall under one of the three categories. This is the philosophy. The Vedas, Upanishads are talking about nature of human being and your composition. Nature of world, how to relate. Nature of the ultimate reality, the reality beyond individual and world. Suppose you say it is all too much for me. Then they try to dilute the entire knowledge into experiments, into rituals, into festivals, into symbolic arrangements in the world. So there is no difference between knowledge and rituals in terms of their nature. It is exactly like science book contains knowledge. Science laboratory is a field to experiment. The question is, do you need science laboratory to learn science or science book to learn science? You may know all theory from the book, but you may not know where is test tube and where is a jug of water. You have never seen a test tube in your life. No. So laboratory is important. Books, forget it. You will not know. Again, you will not know what a test tube is, what a beaker is. So you need both the knowledge of science from the books and a field called laboratory to verify the knowledge which is experiments. Same way, in spirituality, the knowledge is contained in the Vedas. The rituals are for you to experience the higher, not to experiment it on others, to experience the higher. Those are the rituals. So as far as the knowledge was contained, knowledge was given. Teachers or masters gave knowledge. They did not train students upon rituals. Rituals were handed down from family to the younger generation. Today, all gurus are only teaching rituals. They set up a havan in your house. They tell you to go to Kashi. They tell you to go to Ganges and do harti in front of the water. Whole religion is full of rituals, no knowledge. If you ask any question, he says, who are you to question the authority of Vedas? Questions are not entertained, not encouraged. That is why we find whole world is surviving on rituals. Hardly anyone has any knowledge. We are fighting with each other. Between religions, there is fight. Within religion, there is fight. Because we know all rituals, but we don't know what they stand for. So the preparation for life started very early. They understood that you can't start the preparation after 55. They started very early. I told you that there are more than 40 samskaras. The first ritual or the first samskara that happens in a person's life is around the age of 7. When your intellect manifests and when the child starts asking questions, where is God? Who is God? Why? The child keeps on asking questions. So around the age of 7, you start doing your first ritual, which is called as Upanayana, sacred thread. So the child is given a sacred thread. Upa means near, Nayanam means vision. Upanayana means now you are ready to visualize life. This is the mark of Upanayana. And the young boy is given the sacred thread, which contains 3 strands. The thread contains 3 strands of threads. Why 3? Why not 4? Why not 2? There is a knowledge behind it. The knowledge is body, mind, intellect is what you are made up of. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas is what you are made up of. The world is made up of waking, dream, deep sleep. Your thoughts are of 3 types: avidya, ignorance; kama, desire; karma, that which propels action. So the child should ask this question, why 3? Why not 5? I don't want 3. I want 1 thread very thick. They want you to ask question. They want the child's intellect to be triggered. But we are so infested and attached with the ritual, we never promote any questions. We never give any answers. That is how all of our life are going. So as soon as the sacred thread is given, the boy does not go to the reception ceremony. Today, after the sacred thread, evening, they have a cocktail party. My son has taken Upanayana. I've called everyone in the office for a cocktail party. Just the opposite. As soon as the sacred thread is given, you send the fellow to a guru and say, now you are ready for knowledge. And what is the name given to that thread? It is called as Yajñopavitam. Yajna plus Upavitam. Upavitam means sacred thread. Yajna means the capacity to grow to higher. So this sacred thread you wear all the time reminds you, I am born as a human being to grow, to evolve in life, not to devolve, not to fall, not to fight, not to get irritated and agitated in life, to find the abode of peace and bliss. It's a reminder. So the boy is sent to the Gurukula to learn the Vedas. Before sending him to the Gurukula, the priest or the Guru at home, the family Guru, gives a mantra to him which is called as Gayatri Mantra. And what is the Gayatri Mantra? People believe by chanting you will get concentration. By chanting you will get wealth, health, radiance. You don't need any fairness cream, you will become fair. Mysterious ideas are circulating. The Gayatri Mantra, if you open, there is no God, there is no goddess, no nothing. It says, just as the sun above, one sun illumines the entire world, this intellect that is given to me, it should become radiant. I should have such clarity of intellect to make all possible decisions in life. Give me that power. This is what that boy chants. And the moment he chants, he is sent to the Guru to learn the Vedas, to wipe off all the vasanas, desires, and to realize the self. This is the first ritual that the child does on its own. And having completed the ritual, the person is sent to learn the Vedas. And what is the entire literature of Vedas talking about? The essence of Vedas is Ekam Eva Advitiyam Brahma. This is the mandate in Vedas. Chandogya Upanishad says, Ekam Eva Advitiyam. Brahman is the name given to God in Vedanta. Ekam Eva means one only. Advitiyam, non-dual is God. First misconception is removed. Ganesha God or Shiva God or Vishnu God or Brahma God or Christ God or Father in Heaven God or Allah God. Ekam Eva Advitiyam. God is only one. There are no two gods. Then what are all these forms that people have conditioned me for 7 years? The child asks the question. Is it okay if I have a Ganesha doll in my room? The Guru says you have whatever you want. It's still better than a teddy bear. Have a Ganesha and So what is all these names and forms that are there if God is one was the question. And what is that one God? What is the nature of one God? Again, the Vedas define in just 3 words. The definition of God, there is no definition possible, but 3 words indicating Avyaktam, Anirdeshyam, Achintyam. 3 words. Avyaktam means unmanifest, which means you can't perceive with senses. Anirdeshyam means unascertainable, indefinable. Mind can only go to areas of known. If you can't ascertain, if you can't define, mind cannot travel there. Third is Achintyam, inconceivable with your intellect. So God is one, non-dual. But what is that God? It cannot be contacted by your body or senses. It cannot be felt by your mind and emotions. It cannot be captured by your intellect. Then why bother about it? So the question is whether God exists or not, people ask. It's not the question of whether it exists or not. The question is whether it is manifest or not. Manifest means visible to the senses. Unmanifest means hidden from the senses. Butter is unmanifest in the milk. Butter is not visible in the milk, but it is inherent in the milk. It is unmanifest. So show me butter in the milk means you can't show. You have to go through a process of extracting butter. Same way, you can't show God. You have to extract God from your own life. So in order to extract milk, the first is you have to start churning. Same way, you need something to extract God from your life. The ideal is God. But the ideal cannot be contacted with your perception, senses, with your mind, or with your intellect. Therefore, there is an idol that is required to represent the ideal. An idol is required to represent the ideal. Idol is not the ideal. The Ganesha that you see in the temple is not God. It represents, attunes, and orients your mind to God. Range of idols, so many gods and goddesses because varieties of mind. Our question is why Hinduism has so many gods and goddesses? Why not have just one and be done with it? Because mind is variety. Innumerable mental types. One person, Hanuman, is impressed. Another person is impressed by Ganesha. Third person is impressed by Shakti. According to your mind. None of these are gods. All these help you to attune to that Brahman, the ultimate reality. So just as when you form a company, you design your mission statement, and then you go to an artist to design what is called as a logo, which represents your mission statement. So this is my mission statement. This is my company. And I want a logo looking at which you can understand it. So idol is a spiritual logo. The idol of deity that you see in a temple is the grossest idol because it is made up of matter. Space, air, fire, water, earth, all 5 elements have been converted into idol. Fire is worshipped in all religions. The subtlest idol is Om, the chant of sound. So every 5 element can be converted into an idol to represent that consciousness, the Brahman, that God principle. So individual's life was full of rituals, gods and goddesses, and communal life, social life was full of festivals and occasions. Entire society was charged, supercharged with divinity. This was the ingenious engineering. And of all the idols, of all the festivals and rituals, Ganesha stands out. So it doesn't matter what faith or what section you belong to, everyone worships Ganesha, and the auspicious festival time starts in August with the sacred thread ceremony, and the first festival that happens after that is Ganesh Chaturthi. And the idol of Ganesha, Lord Ganesha, Gana Isha, Gana means people, Isha means Lord, the Lord of people is the name Ganesha. So what does Ganesha stand for? Ganesha stands for symbol of perfection, self-realization. To believe that there is actually a person like this with an elephant's head somewhere floating in the sky is your personal belief. I won't say yes or no. But if you live with the philosophical interpretation of what Ganesha stands for, few weeks, few months, few years, few janmas, depending on your effort, you see the magic. In iPhone, it is called as Siri. In Google, it is called as Alexa. There is no person called Siri or Alexa. They are representation. They represent artificial intelligence. Same way, gods and goddesses were representations. What do they represent? Ganesha represents the state of self-realization. Giant head to mean giant wisdom. Ganesha has a giant head, elephant's head to mean giant wisdom, lot of knowledge. Wide ears to mean he picks up knowledge, spiritually receptive person, not closed. Not a person who is close to learning. And from that face of elephant protrudes a trunk. So the trunk of an elephant can uproot a tree, can pick up a needle from the floor. I have seen in temples in India, when you drop a coin in front of an elephant, the elephant picks it up from the trunk. But you may think, such a big trunk, how can it pick up the coin? It can pick up even a needle, a board pin, and it can uproot a tree. So this is the nature of intellect in a person. There are 2 tusks of which one is broken, representing the gross intellect. The gross intellect is all the time dealing with opposites, profit and loss, heat and cold, joy and sorrow, honor and dishonor, knowledge, ignorance. This is your gross intellect. We don't know anything beyond opposites. When you say God is one, it is beyond opposites. There is no opposite to the reality. To represent that this person has reached that state of total realization beyond the opposites, Dvandva Atita, they broke one tusk and left one. To say the opposites are broken. And then the huge belly of Ganesha is not because he is eating McDonald's burger all the time. He has to start jogging. What is the idea of huge belly to say that he can digest anything in life? Today, all mental health problems are because our mind is so vulnerable. The intellect is weak. We can't digest even simple things. In schools, they have counselors. Now, how far it can go? Another 100 years, they will inject psychologists into the womb to counsel the baby. So vulnerable the mind is that we can't take care of children at school because we don't have an intellect to attend to them. We want to pass that responsibility on another who carries a certificate. So huge stomach to mean that he can belly anything, he can stomach anything, he can digest any experience of life and remain unaffected. And Ganesha's belt is made up of a serpent, a snake. Snake is the ego. So ego is an ornament in Ganesha. It doesn't poison him. So he wears it as a belt around his waist. And Ganesha has one leg down, another up. Down to mean that he is functioning in the world. Up to mean he is attuned to the self. Our problem is if you deal with the world, you can't think of God. If you think of God, you can't deal with the world. Both are possible. It's just a matter of training oneself towards it. And next to his feet is a plate of sweets. Sweets represents prosperity from the world. And not only sweets, there is a rat next to Ganesha which picks up the sweet in its hand and looks up. Rat represents your mind. Looking up to Ganesha means your mind is always consulting your intellect before indulging in the world. Now, how beautifully the whole thing has been put inside Ganesha. And all that we do is offer $2 modak and say $2 million business I want. I think Ganesha is a fool. $2 modak and coconut you break. $2 million contract you want from Ganesha. Have some common sense. Huh? Even Walmart won't give you $2 worth of coupon, $2 million worth of good supply. How can God do that? Start thinking. So the entire thing, so if you don't subscribe to the philosophy and keep going into the temple again and again, you develop devotion. At some point of time, you will inquire, where is Ganesha? How tall is he? Doesn't he age? How fair or dark is he? Does he have a OHIP card or an Aadhaar card? So you start asking questions when you are ready for knowledge. So they created such contradictory images and idols to make a person think. And they spun a story, significance around it, and created a festival where the whole community can come together in that name. That is the Chaturthi. That is what all the festivals are about. So Hinduism is a symbolic religion. It is not a superstitious religion. It has become superstitious because we don't connect the symbolic rituals into the philosophy. It is outstanding engineering. To conceive it, we need time. Now, our guru has broken it into pieces. I'm putting it in slide and talking, it is easy. Imagine someone sat and thought about all this and gave it to us and made it our culture. So it's a symbolic religion full of symbols, significance, personification of the philosophy. So you worship Ganesha, and Chaturthi, you do something that is so unexplainable, inexplainable. After the festival, you drop Ganesha into water, into ocean. It is called Visarjan. Why do we do that? We never ask that question. Why can't you keep it and use it for the next year? Idol represents ideal. Idol is not God. So where did you get that Ganesha from? You make it from the clay, from the world. And the clay you mold into a Ganesha, you chant prayers, you orient your mind. It is no more clay. It is God for you. And you single-pointedly focus your attention upon that, meditate and realize, not in 24 hours. This is the entire journey. After you have found that Ganesha within you, this clay idol is no more required. You return it to the same place from where you loaned it. You put it in water. Now, why not throw in the streets? Because others will walk over it. So you return it into the water with all respect, devotion, and gratitude. The idol has no meaning in the life of a person who has conceived the ideal. Now, a story is required for Ganesha, a ritual is required to communicate the philosophy, and then a place is required where people can orient their mind. So that place became the temple. Construction of temple. Traditional temples, if you see, there are 5 praharas, 3 praharas. Praharas means compounds or verandas. 5 to mean 5 sheaths in your personality. Food sheath, vital air sheath, mental sheath, intellectual sheath, bliss sheath. 3 layers to mean body, mind, intellect, waking, dream, deep sleep, sattva, rajas, tamas. If you cross these 3 layers, you reach the sanctum sanctorum. And the walls or the ceiling to the sanctum sanctorum, the threshold, entrance is so small. They built giant temples, but built very small, narrow entrance into the sanctum sanctorum to say you have to bend. Unless you drop your ego, you can't enter the state of God. And the idol was made of dark black stone to say the real self, God in you, is unknown. It is dark, it is black. And there is a pilot light the priest has. So when you go to the temple, you carry a camphor, you carry a coconut. All these are symbolic. Camphor represents your vasanas. Camphor means fragrance. So if you light your vasanas against the fire, the knowledge that your guru gives, the whole thing burns into ashes in a matter of time. As the camphor burns, it produces light with which you see the God. That is the arti. So as you gain this knowledge, you will know what that real God is. This is the significance. And as the priest shows the Mangal Harti in front of the devotees, he chants a mantra from the Upanishad. Many people have no idea of what that mantra is. Natatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidyuto bhanti kutoyam agnihi tameva bhanta manubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. So the priest chants, but he chants in such a hurry. We don't even hear what it is. What is he chanting? He is saying that God, sun cannot illumine, moon cannot illumine, stars and fire and flash of lighting cannot help you to see God. How can this piece of camphor make you see God? What you are seeing now in front of you is not God. That which makes you see from within is God, is what he is chanting. The priest is telling you, don't think that the idol that this camphor is showing is God. It represents God. God cannot be shown to you by the light of sun. God cannot be seen by the light of moon, the flash of lightning, by fire. How can the small 25 paisa camphor illumine God? God is the consciousness by which all this is illumined. The pure consciousness in you is what he is chanting. Why do you carry a coconut? Coconut talks about your spiritual purification, chitta shuddhi. So when you find a coconut that is brought down from a tree, it has a very smooth exterior. And then you open it, you cut open it. When you cut open it, you find interlocked coils, fiber, and it creates so much of dirt around the house if you open it. These intertwined coils or the mind, desires and attachment. The smooth exterior is your body, which we maintain by going to parlor and massage parlor places all the time. From outside, everything is fine. Inside is full of coils that creates dirt and chaos. And what you do is you remove the coils bit by bit. You can't take it off fully. One coil is so thin, so light, so weak, but all of them coming together is so heavy. One desire is nothing but innumerable desires and attachment your mind consists of. You take out the predominant desires, offload the bulk of desires, leave a small tuft and take the coconut to the temple. This is the tradition. The tuft represents your spiritual desire. That is why Brahmins have tuft. To say, I have shaved off all mundane desires and I have the only desire to realize God. So with that, you go to a guru. The priest takes off the tuft, breaks open the coconut, and once he breaks open the coconut, you find that the white part, the real coconut, becomes visible, representing the consciousness. When the last tuft is taken out, you see 3 dots. Nyana chakshu, 3 dots to say, you gain the vision of God beyond the 2 fleshy eyes. This is what they are trying to tell us. We say, I'll break 108 coconuts. May my son pass the lectures, pass the exams. May my daughter's marriage go well. I'll break 108 coconuts. We can break 1008 coconuts, but may not get the message. So, one example for idol, Ganesha, representing the state of perfection. One example for Gayatri Mantra, for mantra, saying that you should build your intellect. One example for temple, for arrangements in the world, which is temple, which is construction of human personality, leading you to the vision of God, to the vision of your own self. So nature of human being and composition, all these put together is what philosophy is talking about. You understand now? So many rituals they are asking you to do. Some point you will ask, why break a coconut? Why light a camphor? Why not put floodlights inside the temple? Why there is a pilot light? Why I can't break the coconut? Why priest has to take it off? They want you to ask question at every stage. We go through everything without asking any question. So mechanical all of us have made these rituals. It's unbelievable. Second part, what is the world, nature of world? The world consists of change. World means change. Now what is this change? Creation, maintenance, destruction is world. That is why in the Hindu faith, you have the concept of Trinity. Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara rule the world is what the child is taught. Now where are these 3 people? And Brahma is fighting with Vishnu, Vishnu is fighting with Ishvara, Ishvara wins sometimes, Brahma wins sometimes, Vishnu. Till the age of 80 we are going by these stories. These stories are for under 4 years, grandmother stories, bedtime stories. 40, 50 we should not be hearing to these stories. We should go to the philosophy behind it. Now, what is the philosophy behind that? Lord Brahma is the creator. And Lord Brahma is married to Saraswati, who is the goddess of knowledge. Now, what they are trying to tell you is, in order to create anything, you need knowledge. So, Brahma is married to Saraswati. To create something, you need knowledge. So, do you want to create? Do you want to be an innovator in life? You need knowledge. I want to build a custom house, a beautiful house. No other house should look like mine in Canada. So you need knowledge for that. You have to go to an architect. So to create something, you need knowledge. This is what is represented in Brahma married to Saraswati. Okay, you build such a house. Now the first problem is, winter is coming soon. Are you going to heat only your bedroom or the entire house? Huge home, palace you've built. So to maintain anything, you need wealth. The Lord of maintenance is Vishnu. Vishnu is married to Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth. Where did Vishnu and Lakshmi meet each other? In university or in park or in go train? Then that child is given a story. How Vishnu boarded go train in Scarborough. How Lakshmi boarded go train in Oakville. And both of them used to go to Burlington to study. Aparna, Western University, right? Western University. Some story. And all over the world, we are going by these stories. For that child's curiosity, someone gave a story. But what is the concept you and I should learn? In order to protect anything, maintain anything, you need wealth. So if you don't have wealth, minimize your desires. This is the way of life they taught. Not going on borrowing and borrowing and borrowing and funding from outside, which fuels the desires, crashes the individual and the economy. And that's what is happening around the world today. Third, in order to destroy anything, you need power. So Lord Shiva, the god of destruction, is married to Durga, the goddess of power. So you give the story to a child, it picks it up. And then it's so easy to trace the what do you need for protection? Don't you need knowledge? No, protection goes with wealth. It is so easy to extract. So what is world? World is nothing but creation, maintenance, destruction. There is a table in front of me. A carpenter says, I have created a table, but creation of table is not possible unless a tree is destroyed. There can't be creation without destruction. There can't be creation and destruction without maintaining anything. So creation, maintenance, destruction. Creation, maintenance, destruction. Or eternal changes happening in the world. This is the nature of the world. When something is created, you should understand you have the honest responsibility to maintain it. And how much ever you maintain it, you should understand it will be destroyed by time at some point. This is the nature of world. This is how you have to objectively relate it. They taught through this personification. So is there someone called as Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara, three people in three different zones? To get rid of this misconception, they planted another deity called Dattatreya. Dattatreya means Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara, all three in one. Those who don't know, Google it. To say that the creation, maintenance and destruction is all forces of nature ordained by that one reality. And a typical portrait of Dattatreya has 4 dogs going behind him all over. What are these 4 dogs? The 4 faithful Vedas are following you towards the divinity. They lead you towards the divinity. So Brahman, one supreme reality, manifests itself as Shiva to destroy the world, Vishnu to protect the world, Brahma to create anything. So Dattatreya is the form or deity a person with spiritual seeking worships, because you want to go beyond all this. So what stops you from going beyond all this and realizing yourself? It is your own desires. Your own desires and attachment, not external opportunities. I've heard so many people say, you are conducting classes in Mississauga. In Markham, if it happens, let me know. In Brampton, if it happens, let me know. In Hyderabad, if it happens, let me know. Now it is happening all over the world. Not only me, hundreds of people are teaching. Zoom, I don't want to log in. Skype, I don't have the facility. 8:45 to 10 is not possible for me. It doesn't work out. I have to babysit my grandchildren. This is called worldly preoccupation. God can come and sit in front of us. We will not listen because our mind is elsewhere. It's not on God. So every religion planted a devil. This devil is the mind. Christianity is called Satan. Islam, it is Shaitan. Buddhism, it is Mara. Hinduism, it is Asura. Again a story. Karma Kanda. What is the Nyana Kanda of it? The equation. Human minus desires is God. God plus desires equals human being. This is what they want to tell us. So the intellectuals take the message and they orient the life. Those who don't have that clarity of intellect go through these stories, these rituals, these festivals, these ordained actions, purify the mind, develop devotion, and then knowledge works in them. So the question is, should I do rituals or should I gain knowledge? This is our question. Don't worry about rituals. Don't worry about knowledge. All of us need all. So what is that you are doing with your body, mind, and intellect is the question. The word yoga in Sanskrit means to join. It is derived from the root yuj. Yoga means join. So there are 4 yogas which lead you to the path of self-realization. The first is called as karma yoga, path of action. With your body, what do? Karma yoga. Reduce your selfishness, perform service and sacrifice. Get rid of your desires. With your mind, what do? Bhakti yoga. What is bhakti? Expanding your circle of identification, not just getting infatuated with my wife, my husband, my son, my daughter, my pet dog, my home, my car, my garden. That's all the world is. All of us are contacting our world, not the world. My world is what I'm relating to, not the world. My world is my father, my mother, my wife, my husband, my children. That's all. My work, my desk, maximum. We can't even identify with organization. So expand your feeling for others. This is devotion, because of which you will drop your ego. Third is called as Nyana Yoga, the path of knowledge. Gaining the knowledge results in differentiating between passing and permanent. This is Nyana, not knowing a lot and conducting lectures. That is secondary. Jnana means your intellect is constantly aware of passing mundane involvement in life and your permanent obligation to evolve. Your intellect never loses that focus. That is why the fellow wears a sacred thread all the time, to remind him of that sacred goal. And when he has attained that sacred goal, the Guru comes and cuts the sacred thread. There is a knot. The 3 knots, the 3 threads are knotted in one place. The Guru cuts the knot to say, now you are liberated. You can't cut it because you are going for swimming. The Guru cuts it to say you are liberated. Nothing binds you. So the sacred thread is cut. So when you perform karma, bhakti and jnana, in proportion to your inner constitution, you clean up your mind of desires and attachment. Your mind becomes meditative. When your mind becomes meditative, it automatically slides into meditation. It eliminates the residual desires, merges with the self. You can't force it now because the mind has excess baggage. It's going into the world. And merging with the self is the theme in all religions. All religions are talking about that. Emerson said, every man is divinity in disguise, God playing the fool. This is what he meant. Divinity is within you. You are disguising yourself with names, with forms, with gender, with profiles. Go beyond all this. In the Old Testament, voice of God told Moses, I am that I am. Definition of God. I am that I am you are using all the time. I am tall, I am short, I am male, I am female. I am Aparna, I am Mohan. Who is that I am? Find out. That's God. Later, Christ said, Kingdom of heaven is within you. He who knows his self knows God. So people are still fighting for that kingdom of heaven. He said, it is within you. He who knows his self knows God. Later, Muhammad told his devotees, that which you are seeking is nearer to you than the neck of your camel. People are going to holy places on camel. He said, you are seeking God. It's nearer to you than the neck of your camel. So today you can see it's nearer to you than the steering wheel of your car. It's your own self. And when you go to the Upanishads, it says, Tat Tvam Asi. You are God. You are not Nehal, you are not Subodh. These are your names. You are not male, you are not female. These are your gender. You are not engineer, you are not architect. These are your profiles. You are not rich, you are not poor. These are your possessions. Who are you? You are that consciousness which you are calling as God. So God is not something that your eyes see. God is not something that your mind can feel. God is not something your intellect can capture. It is the consciousness that makes your body, mind, and intellect live life. It's the life principle. But the problem is our mind is running so fast into the world, there is no way we can focus on God. So they have to give us so many rituals, festival, symbols, temples, tradition, to purify the mind, to constantly attune it towards the God. Some point of time, the person would ask this question. Christ asked this question, Abba, where is my father? He said. That is why he said, Father in heaven. Ramana Maharshi asked, I know my biological father, but who is the first father who produced this whole thing? Who is that God? He found it. So all the rituals are triggers to make a person inquire. When we don't make the connect between the rituals and philosophy, we make the rituals mechanical. Rituals are not mechanical. Rituals help in transmitting the knowledge from one generation to the other. Rituals are easy to pass. Knowledge is difficult. The story of Mahabharata preserves the knowledge of Gita. There are so many textbooks that are written, standalone books. It's not protected. It's dead over a period of time. But how is Bhagavad-Gita protected? Because of the stories of Mahabharata. Whoever is reading and talking about is unconsciously protecting the philosophy. But you can't give the philosophy. Second generation will forget it. Ritual you won't forget. So it was an ingenious plan to protect precious knowledge and pass it on through these triggers called rituals. The purpose in life is to use the rituals to go beyond them to find the reality. Beautiful example is given in the Vedanta Treatise by our Guru. He says it is like pole vault. Pole vaulter picks the pole, heaves up and up and up, and he reaches the bar. He leaves the pole and goes to the other side. If he holds on to the pole, he won't cross. So the pole that helps you to go up are the rituals or the knowledge. But at the last step, the whole thought is dropped and you transcend to the zone of thoughtlessness. This is the purpose of life. In Gita, Krishna says, none of us are aware of it. Still we follow everything. Why? Because of 4 reasons. Artha means seeker of solace. Why are you going to temple? With closed eyes, people are thinking you are meditating. You're not meditating, chanting. You're only thinking about daughter, that mother-in-law of her. If with COVID she dies, my daughter's life will be a lot better. So you are going to temple for seeking solace from God. A businessman is coming to the temple for what? To get a contract. Let COVID extend. I've just ordered 1 million masks from China. It is getting imported now. Suppose someone finds a vaccine. What will happen to my business? So let COVID last for 2 more months. He is going to pray for wealth. Arthati he is called. Artha means seeker of mental solace. Artharthi means seeker of finances, wealth, resources. The third is Jignasu. I want to attend rituals to reality. Why? I want to know what Swami Parthasarathi's version of the topic is. I know Ramatirtha's version. I know X and Y's version. But what is Swami Parthasarathi's version which will be given out in this class? Just curious. You are solving a spiritual Sudoku puzzle. This is called Jignasu. 4th type, he says, is the real devotee. He calls him as seeker, Jnani. So Jnani is the person who is searching for knowledge. So what are we performing these rituals for? To avoid punishment, hell, to gain heaven benefits, to fall in line with the society and marry, or just a herd instinct. But if you understand the connection between philosophy and knowledge, it can help a person evolve in life. So use it as a means to an end, not as an end in itself, is what Vedanta teaches us. So 3 books for you to start your study. The first is, whatever is spoken today is from Symbolism of Hindu gods and rituals. What is the significance of Om? 10 pages. Why Gayatri Mantra above all? Explained. What is the significance of Navratri? Explained. What is the significance of Diwali? Why do you fast? So symbolism of Hindu gods and rituals. We should know why we do certain things. And the karma, this is the Karma Kanda. The Nyana Kanda is in Vedanta Treatise. The digest of knowledge in the Vedas is given out there. And that portion of Vedas that talk about God, the ultimate reality, is presented in this book, Thesis on God. 3 books. When I met my guru, he spoke to me and I said, Swamiji, I want to know more. I want some confirmations of what you're saying. I made that blunder as a student. So he said, Ranga, it's your life. Take it or leave it. This is what he said. He didn't try to convince me. He said, take it or leave it. If he didn't say that, I would have left it. If he tried to convince me, I would have developed doubt. He said, Ranga, I've told you what you need to hear. Now it's up to you. Take it or leave it. And this blessing, some of us took it and learnt it. So I am passing on his words to you. Take it or leave it. It's your life. Some punya you have done that you are accessing the knowledge, not listening to the lecture here. The knowledge is coming in front of you, not COVID virus. So don't let that punya go waste. Take it or leave it. It's up to you. Over to you, Aparna.
Hari Om, everyone. For those of you who are interested to pursue Vedanta further, there are some upcoming events and publications that you can begin with. So the first one is the Symbolism of Hindu Gods and Rituals. Hinduism is a symbolic religion, and this book decodes the significance behind mystical forms of various gods and goddesses. It also explains the meaning of rituals, festivals, and mantras. This book educates us and our children on the rationale behind prayers and practices. The next one is the Eternities Vedanta Treatise. It is hailed as the book of the planet in reviews, and the treatise is acclaimed as the ultimate composition on life and living. It contains the digest of knowledge from the Vedas and the Upanishads, presented in contemporary thought and language. Another one is called the Thesis on God. It is a systematic and scientific presentation starting with the origin of the word God, its relationship with the phenomenal world, and you, the individual. Sifting through innumerable Vedantic texts, this book sequentially presents the magnitude of the all-pervading reality from the known to the unknown. A one-of-its-kind composition that reveals the concept of God and the ultimate state of God realization. Many of you have been attending the Bhagavad-Gita lecture series by Sunandaji, the daughter disciple of Swami Parthasarathi. Sunandaji will be continuing her Gita lecture series for Toronto, live and online. From September 30th to October 3rd, for 4 evenings, the lecture series will cover Chapter 5 of the Gita on a verse-to-verse format. This is open to all without any charge. Please register over the website www.vedantacanada.org to attend this series. For those of you that are interested to study Vedanta in Toronto, you may be familiar that Sri Rangarajan holds weekly study programs on Vedanta and the Bhagavad-Gita throughout the year. Currently, all weekly study programs are offered over the Zoom e-classroom. You are welcome to join the weekly e-classes, and for a list of all the classes, please log on to the website www.vedantacanada.org. Satsanga is an 8-session well-being education for teens and youth and is offered for students in grade 9 and above. Wellness Vedanta is an 8-week beginner study program on Vedanta that covers the fundamental concepts of Vedanta and its practical application to life. The Wellness Vedanta series provides the fundamentals needed to launch into the study of the Bhagavad-Gita. For more information on the next cycle of this program, please log on to www.vedantacanada.org. So many people have been attending weekly study lectures and have requested for the recording of these lectures. So we are uploading select classes and public lectures over on our YouTube channel called Vedanta Canada. By subscribing to this channel and hitting the bell notification icon, you will automatically get notified when we upload new lectures. So please remember to subscribe as well as hit the bell icon to get these notifications. There is no cost for the subscription, and you do not need any YouTube account for this. Vedanta Canada is a non-funded educational charity. If you wish to make a donation to the foundation and foster the cause of promoting Vedanta, you may do so by the following ways. One way is to e-transfer to vedanta.ca@gmail.com. Another way is to do online secure credit or debit card processing to www.vedantacanada.org/reach-us. Or you may simply click the QR code on your screen with your smartphone and the page should pop up. All of this information is also available on the website www.vedantacanada.org/reach-us. And lastly, before you sign off from your device, please log on to www.vedantacanada.org and register for Sunandaji's Gita Discourse series. Thank you for joining us today. Hari Om.